In this lesson, we're going to use the unified CloudWatch agent rather than using our own scripts to send custom metric data to CloudWatch. So the unified CloudWatch agent enables the following. It collects a bunch of system level metrics, and these include the in-guest metrics as well as the metrics for EC2. It collects system level metrics from on-premises servers as well as EC2 servers. It retrieves custom metrics for applications using the statsd and collectd protocols, and it can also collect logs from EC2 instances and on-premises servers running either Linux or Windows, and we'll see this in action in a moment. Now, note that what you're doing here is you're streaming logs to CloudWatch logs, so you can stream that information on an ongoing basis. This is something that pops up in exam questions, so make sure that you understand that if you need a way to make sure that the log information from your instances is available in case the instance gets terminated, for example by an auto-scaling group, then you still have that information available. The way to do that is to use CloudWatch logs with the CloudWatch agent installed on your EC2 instance or your on-premise instance. You can download and install the agent manually, or you can use Systems Manager, which we'll look at later in the course. So for now, let's head over to the console and we're going to install the unified CloudWatch agent on a Windows instance. I want to bring this article to your attention. This will be provided as a link attached to the lesson, and it gives you some more information about how to actually install the agent on Windows and Linux, on EC2, and as well as on premises as well. So if you have any issues or you want to do this on Linux instead of Windows, you can quite easily follow this article. So back in EC2, we're going to launch an instance. This time we're going to use a different AMI, so we're going to scroll down to Microsoft Windows Server 2019 base. It's still free tier eligible. Click on select. Still going to be a T2 micro. And we can leave the remaining defaults. In fact, no, what we can do right now is we can use this EC2 CloudWatch role because we do need permissions to be able to send this information to CloudWatch again. So it's actually going to use the same policy as we used in the previous lecture. So the EC2 CloudWatch role we created will have the permissions policy attached to it that gives our instance the rights to send data to CloudWatch. So let's click on Next, go through the security group, and click on Web Access. Now you're going to need port 3389. If you don't have it, then we'll add it in now. So I'll show you what to do. Let's just launch this instance. Port 3389 is the remote desktop protocol. If we go to security groups, choose the security group you just attached to your instance, and then just go to inbound rules, edit, add a rule, and then you just need to choose RDP. If you type in RDP, it comes up with the port 3389 for you, and then just set it to either anywhere or your own IP. So the instance is launching. We just need to wait a few minutes for it to be available so that we can connect to our instance. Let's try and connect to our Windows instance now. I'm going to click on Connect. I need to get the password and choose my key pair file. So I'm going to select my key pair file, add that in, click on Decrypt Password, and so now I've got all the connection information I need. You'll need an RDP client, and then you'll use this information to connect to the remote desktop of your Windows instance. So on my computer, I have an RDP client installed. I'm just going to add this PC and then try and connect to it. And I need to put in the administrator as the username. I'm going to copy this password, put that in, continue, continue, and then it's going to connect me to the remote desktop. Now we're logged onto our instance, you might want to go to Server Manager and just disable the Internet Explorer Enhanced Security configuration because it just makes Internet Explorer really hard to use. So what you do is just go to Local Server and IE Enhanced Security Config and just disable this. And then what we're going to do is open up Internet Explorer, and I have these commands for you. So the first one here is just a URL, and we're going to use that to actually download the installer, so the agent. So let's just save the MSI, and then we can go ahead and just run the MSI here. And that's all there is to it. That's actually installed now. So if we actually open up our file system, go to this PC, C drive, program files, Amazon, and then you'll find CloudWatch Agent at the top here. So we've got this directory, and in here there is the Amazon CloudWatch Agent configuration wizard. I'm going to double click that, and it has a series of questions. And mostly we're just going to accept the default. So the default here is choice 2, which is Windows. That's the operating system we're using. We're using EC2. We'll just select enter for most of these. There's various parameters that you can control. Now we're definitely monitoring the host metrics. That's what we want to do here, CPU and memory. And let's just carry on with the defaults. And yes, we're happy with the configuration. Do we want to monitor customized log files? I'm going to change that to 2 because I don't want to. But we do want to monitor the Windows event log. So that's going to stream the Windows event log to CloudWatch logs. And I'm going to leave all the defaults for that. And it's going to create a log group name called system and use the instance ID for the stream name. And I'm going to select 2 on this option just because I don't want to monitor any other event logs. I also don't want to store this in SSM parameter store. So I'm just going to hit enter, and that's completed it. And we now have this config.json file. So by running that wizard, it creates the config.json. Now we just double clicked the MSI, so we didn't run this command in the middle. What we're going to do now is run this last command in PowerShell. Now make sure that you've got this path set correctly. So this should be the path to the config.json file. So what I'm going to do is open PowerShell, paste in that command, and then hit enter. And apologize, it's quite small there, but it's basically saying that there's a valid JSON input schema, and then it says first phase and second phase succeeded, and validation succeeded. So that's good. That basically means that it has installed correctly and it has run correctly. It's found our configuration file, and the agent should now continue to run on this system. So that's it. We just need to go back to CloudWatch now and see what information has been reported. So it took a few minutes, but I've now got this CW agent custom namespace here. So that's been reported from the CloudWatch agent. And if you go in here, you'll see these particular metrics. So we've got logical disk, and we can see it's the logical disk % free space. And then the other one here is memory. So we've got memory % committed bytes in use. So that's how you use the CloudWatch agent to report this information. Now, as I mentioned, it also produces logs. So if we go to CloudWatch logs, head into the log groups, and you'll see one called system here. And if we head in there, enter the log stream, which is based on the instance ID, and we'll see a bunch of event logs that come straight from the Windows event log. So if you're a Windows admin, you'll recognize that this is your system log, and this is being streamed in real time to CloudWatch logs. And you can do the same thing for your Linux instances and also your on-premise instances as well. So that's it for this lesson. I hope you enjoyed that. The only thing you need to do at the end of this lesson is just terminate your instance and you're all cleaned up.